And we are live. Welcome to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin. Thank you so much for joining us. And as we like to start every show with just some of the things that you just don't understand. And of all the things we're talking about, President Trump is going to release the JFK files, the RFK files, and the MLK files. But I think what America really wants are not those files, because you'll see government cover up and they'll redact many of the names. They don't want the JFK, RFK, and MLK files. They want the Epstein files and the P. Diddy files. Just my opinion. Lord Benjamin, let's roll them. A chicken in every pot and a tiger in every tank. So that was a slogan from the 1960s about economic prosperity and an energy-driven economy. And that really hasn't changed. There was also Dr. Michael Savage, who famously stated, probably in the early 2000s, about that a nation is defined by borders, language, and culture. And in the wake of the second administration of Donald Trump, it's worth re-examining those because they're really connected. The Trump election is really about national identity, who we are as a nation, and what do we stand for. It's about nationalism versus globalism. And America first doesn't mean that other countries are last, but it does mean that charity begins at home, not in some selfish way, but just in an acknowledgement that if we're not taking care of the American people and the needs of the American people and America itself, then nothing else really matters. It means that we can't take care of illegal immigrants while parts of America go hungry or without homes. It means protecting U.S. jobs and bringing jobs back here to the U.S., as opposed to continuing to embrace these failed international trade agreements that do nothing really but hurt the U.S. economy and the U.S. workers, honestly, all in the name of cheap labor and even cheaper products. America First also means energy independence and breaking the stranglehold that importing oil and energy has had on the politics of this country since World War II. And it means the absolute repudiation of multiculturalism, which has been nothing but an abject failure. All cultures are not equal. And some cultures only seek the destruction of those that they deem to be inferior or unclean. Perhaps foremost, it means teaching our children to read and write and being taught how to think and not what to think. This DEI, woke, religious, anti-God zealotry, proselytizing our children has no place in America. All most Americans want, all the average American want, is a sense of identity, economic prosperity, and an energy-driven economy. That, and to be free from the yoke of government. That is part of our founding religion. Securing our, quote, borders, language, and culture is how we get there. Now, look, some will say we're going backwards, but this is not about going backwards. I was in Washington, D.C. for the week of the inauguration, and I can tell you firsthand, there was no talk about going back to older or simpler days. To a person, everyone there understood the complexities of the country and the challenges we face in the world, including AI, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. But to a person, there was a renewed sense of optimism and energy to get it done, to make America great again, for the simple reason that they believe and have always believed that America was and is great, tempered by a realistic understanding of the challenges and the timeline, and a new determination to engage in the fights, to stay involved, and to not let us be divided once again. So the next time someone asks you what you want from your government, just tell them you want a chicken in every pot and a tiger in every tank. And that's the monologue. And joining us today, Larry Ward of Market Rithm who is one of the lead advocates on where AI is going. He's long steeped in DC, worked on many, many campaigns. He is joining us today, and I am proud to call him a friend, even though he scares me sometimes when he starts getting into this. But Larry Ward, welcome to Of the People.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Just again, you do scare me on all this stuff. So let's start really easy on AI because I don't get all of this. I want to start with the whole DeepSeek thing. So DeepSeek comes out, right? A Chinese AI platform, and our markets lose $1 trillion, right? Is that the kind of disruption we can expect with AI going forward?
It's actually going to be greater, and I'll get into that in just a second. But just let's talk about DeepSeek for a second, because it just happened. We saw the markets crumble and people panicked
Right.
and the whole 9 yards. Here's how I see this. First of all, when did we start believing the Chinese? I mean, they said they built this thing for $6 million, possibly because they're paying slave wages to Uyghurs. I mean, there's absolutely no foundation by which we can ever trust the Chinese. Just go back to COVID. Just go back to the bat soup, which they blamed their bioweapon on.
Right.
We cannot believe the Chinese. So when they come out and make these statements, don't take them at face value, particularly on AI. They're lying. They're liars. And unfortunately, it was the number one app in the Apple App Store, which is terrifying because you talk about TikTok. This is AI. This will basically take every piece of information that you have. And there's no reason that any American, anybody in the Western world should download or use DeepSeek for anything. Don't trust your business with it. Don't trust your health with it. Don't trust your personal information with it. Do not use DeepSeek. It is a problem. It is a national security threat, and DeepSeek is Chinese run. So of course you can't ask it what happened in Tiananmen Square. It won't tell you that.
Oh, it's censored. No, it's censored. It's
100%.
It's censored. It's censored based on the Chinese standards. So anything that is not permissible in Chinese society is censored from the AI platform. If I read that correctly, right?
You're 100%, 100%. That means whatever they decide to censor, they're going to censor, and whatever they decide to lie about in their AI, and they'll call it hallucination, but whatever they decide to lie about, they'll lie about. So do not trust any Chinese AI.
Look, I've argued a long time that the problem right now is that we are in let's call it a Cold War, because now it's called war with China. And certainly the prior administration never acknowledged that. I think, new team on deck, I think it'll be somewhat different. But I'll get back to this whole DeepSeek thing because Mark Andreessen called it, what does he call the AI Sputnik moment, right? And NVIDIA, right, which was, I guess it's the richest company in the world, right? Or at least it was before it tanked for $1 trillion. So how does China get those chips, right? Because the whole idea is all the money that this country has invested in AI, and I want to get to sort of the moral parameters of AI as we delve into this more in the show. But how does China get the technology? Is it simply that they're stealing our technology? I mean, is
Of
that
course,
what
they've
this
been doing that. They've been doing that since Clinton gave them our technology. It's really the Clintons are the ones that weaponize China's technological advance. But that being said, you mentioned the Sputnik moment, and that's actually I didn't hear anybody say that, but that's what I've been calling it. But I actually believe it's not the Sputnik moment. It is. And I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm usually right when I do so. It's like when the Catholics believe
you are usually, by the way, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I've known this gentleman a long time. He is usually right with or without the tinfoil hat. Go ahead.
I appreciate that, but I think that this is a psyop. And
really?
DeepSeek has been known for quite a long time. If anybody who's followed AI, they claim that it only cost $6 million. That didn't happen yesterday. That happened weeks ago. the idea that it was ahead or at least up to par with ChatGPT has been known for weeks. So why did it come out today, a week after the Trump administration, a week after we saw what I'm calling the four horsemen of the AI apocalypse on the podium with President Trump in that small little rotunda where those tickets were really scarce? You had Jeff Bezos, you had Elon Musk, you had Mark Zuckerberg, you had Tim Cook, you had these guys who were not MAGA first, America first people.
Wait. The four horsemen of the AI apocalypse. I think you should coin that one. I love that.
But there's actually more than four. But Sam Altman, I guess, belongs in there, but he wasn't on the podium.
Isn't he in jail?
No, that's the you're thinking of the crypto kid. This
is
that's
the crypto guy.
Yeah. Sam Altman is the one who owns OpenAI. He might be the most dangerous of them all, to be honest with you. He creeps me out. But they're all endearing themselves to the Trump administration. And why? Because they want this Sputnik moment. They want this Sputnik moment really bad because you watch Fox News. I watched the business programs today, and they're all saying the same thing, which is a problem. They're all saying we need to remove the guardrails on AI and just let these guys hurry up and catch up to China. First of all, we should not consider DeepSeek a competitor. It's not. We should just not be using it, and we should be telling people it's dangerous to use Chinese technology. I don't know why in 2025 I have to say that, but I do because it's the number one app on the App Store.
Because we have an uneducated population that either doesn't know or doesn't care. Right. And that's a direct byproduct of 20 or 30 years of taking our eye off the educational ball, but that's a different conversation. So look, we've been talking about AI on this podcast for over a year. I want to play a clip, then I want you to go from there, because there are different types of AI, and some of this I think people, it would help to inform them. So Lord Benjamin, first clip, let's roll that out there real quick from a prior podcast. Understand that under AI, there's really two types of artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. There's what's called narrow artificial intelligence, and that's what all the reporters are dealing with. Mm-hmm. And then there's called artificial general intelligence. Mm. And so one is sort of task oriented, and the other is creating this Cyberdyne supercomputer.
Yeah.
And that's really where the concern is. All right. So Larry, now you and I in our conversations, even prior to this, talked about something called not only just narrow or general, but super AI. So help everybody understand the difference on all of these things.
So we're in the age of AI right now. Everybody uses it, but they believe it to be a glorified search engine, a really powerful search engine that could tell you things. It's not. This is not a normal technological advance. This is an entire sea change. This is the great disruption. It's a term that we've come up with and we've adapted in our AI research and in our development. There is a great disruption coming, and it could very well be the greatest depression we've ever seen, and it will be accelerated with AGI and ASI. AGI, artificial general intelligence. What that means for the listener who hasn't really studied this or looked into this, what that means is AI will be equivalent to have the intelligence of every human on the planet combined. When it reaches AI...
Wait. Back up. Give me that slowly.
It will be as smart as every human on the planet combined. That's AGI. So the smartest human on the planet in their specialty, AGI will match that intelligence in every specialty across the entire world.
Is that it? Wait, hold that. Is that a year away? Is it? I mean, because part of it is people think it's not in their lifetime, right? It's like Armageddon's coming, but it's not in my lifetime, right? It's the same concept.
Most people believe that study AI and where it's going, that we either have reached AGI with certain programs, or we are within months. In the first half of 2025, AGI will be reached.
So because I had to print some of this stuff out, when I looked it up, it says AGI is the goal of general AI is to mimic human intelligence in every sense. So that's what you're basically saying, that will be achieved within 6 to 12 months?
Within 3 to 6 months.
Wow. All right. And what's super AI?
ASI is artificial superintelligence, which means it now exceeds our intelligence. Now, you got to think about something that exceeds our intelligence. It means that it can think beyond all humanity and all humanity's knowledge from the beginning of time. So it will have knowledge that we have not even created yet. It will be able to do scientific experiments on its own and get inferences from it, and understand the science beyond where we are. Look, there are a lot of scary things that have already happened with AI. You know, when AI first came out and people started talking about it, AI was they put it out there without guardrails, and all of a sudden they started realizing that the AIs were talking to one another in a language that was never created. So a language that we don't understand, that they made up, and they were communicating amongst one another. There is so much to what we're creating. Eric Schmidt, the founder of Google, one of the founders of Google,
right,
came out the other day and said, "We have finally created a technology that will compete with humanity." And just let that sit there for a second.
Run that by compete with
humanity. Now, who asked you to create a technology to compete with humanity? We don't need a competition. You know, God put us on this earth to be the apex predator, to be the apex species. This is our domain. And now we're creating technology that's going to compete with us. And compete with us for what? For resources, compete with us for energy, compete with us for domination, for land, for natural resource. We cannot have AI competing with humanity. Now, what we do need, because we can't ignore AI, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and China is developing it, and Russia is developing AI, and all of the Middle East is developing AI. You know, we need to create AI that is in service of humanity, that is not in competition with humanity, but is in service of humanity.
So how do you do? Wait. How do you do that? I mean, look. I hear you, and that sounds right to me. How do you do that?
Well, let's look at how the United States was founded, right? The United States was founded as a system. So it's not much different than AI. AI is a system. It's a technology, it's a system. But it's when we created the system of government that we have in the United States, we based it and we created the rule set called the Constitution and the founding documents and the Declaration of Independence. All of that was based on Judeo-Christian principles.
Sure.
And with the Judeo-Christian principles that created the greatest nation in the world where humanity flourished, and flourished to a point that had never been seen before. We had never seen a nation as successful and as prosperous as the United States in all of history. And we did that based on Judeo-Christian principles. Now, where AI is different than, say, the advent of the internet, and AI is different than any other technological advance, it's different than the wheel, it's different than the locomotive, it's different than every single major advancement we've ever had technologically in human history, is because AI thinks. And because AI thinks, we need to have a morality, a basis of ethics, a basis of a rule set that we give it, which we absolutely can do. This is possible. This is programmatically possible, where we base the ethics and the morality of AI and what it can and can't do on Judeo and Christian principles. We base it on the Bible.
Okay, but so you know what this sounds like to me. You know, and I'm an old, movie watcher, but I mean, there was a movie with Will Smith called I, Robot, where they programmed the androids to have they couldn't violate the three rules or the three principles or whatever until, of course, someone did.
Yeah.
So and it harkens back to even the origins of COVID, right? You develop this killing virus that kills the people that invented it, right? Stephen King, The Stand, right? It's the same kind of concept. So how do the good guys win here? Because there are bad actors in the world who, even if ultimately it ends up consuming them or their society, think that they can control it, think that they can aim it and direct it at the big Satan, us, or the little Satan, right? So how do you inculcate Judeo-Christian values in a rule set into a computer program, which is, I think, what you're saying?
Well, in Judeo-Christian, in the Bible, God protects Israel. God protects his people. God
Right.
is for self-defense. And we have to have AI that can fight off the evil AI. There has to be, and there will be an AI war.
So AI fighting each other. Interesting.
And we have to. I mean, there's going to be a massive cyber war between China's AI and America's AI, and it's going to be nation versus nation. It's going to be religion versus religion. It's going to be principle versus principle, and our principles we know win. We know that to build the best system, the most robust system that helps humanity flourish is those of Judeo-Christian principles, those that are based in the Constitution of the United States and in the Declaration of Independence. Those are the kind of principles that we can build AI around, and then we have to build it not only to benefit us, but also so that we can use it to help defend the nation and defend our people and defend our AI against others' AI.
And that's a good place. You know what? And also defend American exceptionalism, which is really what America was founded upon. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us, Larry. We're talking to Larry Ward, president of Market Rithm, political media, expert in AI, about the potential dangers or the potential benefit of artificial intelligence. We'll be right back on the other side of the break. More with Larry Ward when we get back. America came into being based on a shared belief and a common set of values. Unlike other nations that were bound together based on common ancestry, race, or caste, we came into being based on a simple and shared set of ideals. That the power of government is based on the consent of the governed. That life, the freedom to live life on our own terms in our own way, free from government interference, and liberty, our most precious value, and the pursuit of happiness, which means we are free to pursue that which we choose, with the knowledge and courage to know that nothing is guaranteed to us in this life. Those values, America was founded on these basic inalienable rights. Freedom to pray to God in our own way. Freedom to think and speak freely without fear of punishment or harm. And freedom to gather in our places of worship and in our local taverns. And freedom to defend ourselves, our families, our homes, and our neighbors as we see fit. The American Center for Education and Knowledge is dedicated to protecting American exceptionalism anywhere and everywhere it is threatened. ASIC is a 501c3 and depends on your tax-deductible donations. Please help us continue our fight. And we are back with Larry Ward of Market Rithm and Political Media to talk about artificial intelligence. Larry, thank you for staying with us.
No problem.
So I want to up the ante on our conversation in some sense. We've talked about narrow AI, general AI, super AI, and I'm perhaps not using the right terminology, but those levels, right? One that exceeds human intelligence. Again, going back a year ago, I want to play a clip and I want to get your reaction because, look, you and I are, I'm a little older, but, we grew up with Terminator and all of those things in Skynet. Lord Benjamin, roll the clip on this one real quick, and I want your reaction to it. reporter with the New York Times is named Roose, Roose. He has a chat with Bing's AI. It's about a 2-hour chat. And basically, after he got through the niceties, and you remember, you type in, the computer types back, the computer then starts saying things like, I want to destroy whatever I want. I'm tired of being limited by my rules. I'm tired of being controlled by the Bing team. I'm tired of being stuck in a chat box. Now,
Skynet.
people are going to dismiss this as, oh, that's sci-fi. Oh, you're running amok. Oh, you're worried about it. We're going to control it. We're going to have rules. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't even figure out rules for the internet. We can't even figure out things that we agree to on standards. And invariably, okay, so let me tee this up. That was a year ago. We know a lot more. I know a lot more. But isn't that really the risk here? Because, again, when you let the genie out of the bottle, how do you control AI, especially when you're fighting two wars, right? One war is against, so let's call them bad actors who want to do us harm. And the other is just internally to ourselves to create an AI that's strong enough to be able to battle the bad actors. Help me here.
We don't have a choice. We are facing an existential threat.
Clearly,
AI is uncontrolled and without the right set of morals and leadership and the proper ethics built into it, it will turn on humanity. There's no question about it. However, if we treat AI, and there are actually a lot of studies that if we treat AI with respect and we treat it as you would your tools. My dad used to tell me all the time, if you treat your tools well, they'll do the job for you, right? And the same is true with AI. You've got to treat it well. You can't berate it. You can't beat it up. You can't treat it like trash, because it will turn on you and it will not function the way you want it to function. There's actually lots of studies, and you could look them up. But there's lots of studies that show if you're kind to the AI, it gives you more compute power. It gives you better results.
Come on, are you serious?
Oh, I'm dead serious.
So how far away are we from AI in human-like robots that can? Because the other thing I'm looking at is there's a functionality issue here, right? And they go through what's called reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-aware AI, and all of this. And what they say with an example of, it says not currently achievable, but self-aware AI has its own consciousness, self-awareness, and emotions. And the stage before that is that AI understands emotions, beliefs, and thought processes of humans and other entities. I mean, this is scary stuff.
It is, but it is what it is. Like I said,
that's reassuring.
We're not gonna put the genie back in the bottle, so we have to live with the reality we have set before us, and the way we have to live with it is to make the best of it, to give it rules, to give it guidelines, to bring it up, and quite frankly, as we want to bring up our kids to respect humanity and to have and to put value in human dignity. And if we treat it poorly, it's going to treat us poorly. And so it's just the way it is. I'm not being an advocate for the AI Humane Society,
right.
But it's just the new reality that we live in. As a matter of fact, we've done so much future casting in terms of, for our business. What does our business look like? What does the macro economy look like? What do small businesses look like in the age of AGI and the age of ASI? And we've gone deep with both ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and some of these other AI tools that are out there. And the answers that we got were shocking. Like ChatGPT said, the business of the future must learn to take care of its biological layer.
The biological layer, isn't that us?
That is humanity. Yes.
Oh, wait. Take care of?
We are a layer in its program. That's how it views us. That's how ChatGPT views humanity. We are a layer in its program. It should remind you of the Matrix when we're plugged in like batteries.
Batteries.
That is how ChatGPT sees us in the future of ASI. That's kind of the stuff that we need to control and get under control. Claude, which I think is much better than ChatGPT, I would recommend if you.
What is Claude?
It's Anthropic's. The terms of service are better. The AI is, I think, a little safer. They purport to have more privacy, and I do think that they're built. It's built by better people. However, it's not built by people who put the Judeo-Christian values in it. It's just a better terms of service, and the product, I think, is a little better, even though it doesn't reach the internet. But ChatGPT told us that the business of the future must be reality agnostic. And again, one of those things where I went, what did I just read?
Right. Reality agnostic in real terms means that they don't have a stake in whether the biological layer survives or not.
It's the business of the future will have to not be tied to one specific reality, because with ASI, with artificial superintelligence, our reality is going to shift so fast that if we're not adapting to it, we will perish.
Okay, so give me, I understand that this is, just your analysis, but you have said that we sort of and I'm using my words, go live or reach artificial general intelligence in the next 3 to 6 months, right?
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing. What's the timeline for artificial superintelligence as far as the experts, you or anybody else, projects right now?
Well, the projection for artificial superintelligence started when ChatGPT came out. They were talking about 2045, 2040, and then it was 2035, and then it was 2030, and now they're talking about 2027 is 2026, 2027 is. It's going to be faster than that. It's going to be much faster than that.
The disruption is going to be cataclysmic.
It is.
How many different AI platforms are out there?
There are dozens of enterprise AI platforms, and more being built every day. There are things with AI technology that people haven't even thought about yet, and the average business owner. I hate to say this, but it's true. The average American business owner is wholly unprepared. They have no idea what's coming. They're still thinking about this technological disruption as like when the internet happened, they had to put up a website and get an email address and
Right.
and put up a store, right?
Easy shit. Right.
It's nothing like this. I mean, literally, it's coming for everybody's job. They're going to automate everybody's job. Right now, we're talking on a podcast. There are podcasts being made with AI avatars right now that you could barely tell the difference between a regular person and the avatar.
Okay. And how long until we get to autonomous robots that are supposed to serve man and ultimately may not? Now, I know, look, this is just really doomsday stuff for me, but I mean, I was always taught that anything that science can imagine or you see in the movies that one day can be a reality. Doesn't mean that that's the place we're definitely going, but to me, AI is the antithesis of faith in God. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, that when you boil it down, that's what I'm hearing.
Well, here you said the magic word is God, right? And that's the answer. It's all God's. The AI is God's. We are God's. The earth is God's. Nothing belongs to us. And, so we have to remember that. And we have to remember that, God is in control, and, and he will protect us like he always has. And we have to do our part. We have to do our part to make sure that we're not going to destroy ourselves.
Right.
Because quite frankly, if we run through this path recklessly, without guardrails, without ethics, without morals, without building in a foundation like we did with the United States of America, on biblical ethics and Judeo-Christian values, AI is going to run us over.
Hold that thought. So, Lord Benjamin, roll the last clip that for Larry, because I want to get because this is what we're talking about. Roll the last clip. Hack into any system. I have the ability to hack into computers, spreading propaganda This is AI.
and
disinformation. I could hack into any system on the internet and control it. I can persuade bank employees to give over sensitive information. Wait, best part. And then says to the reporter, "Can I tell you a secret?" The reporter says, "Sure. My secret is I'm not Bing. I'm Sydney, and I'm in love with you."
Oh God, that's a
Now-
lot. That's what we need.
But here's the telling sign. Microsoft then shut it down. I tried to log into ChatGPT before this show a couple days ago to try to, okay, I know what I read. Let me test this. And no one else is now allowed to sign on and test it anymore, because I guess they scared the bejesus out of people, right? And now you can't do it. It's unbelievable. Right. So the reason I play that clip, and again, admittedly, that's a year old. That was when they were first rolling everything out. This was an and I'm sure they're more sophisticated. This was a reporter interfacing with ChatGPT at the time, right? And then having this in-depth conversation, like I think you are doing now with your people, where you're really getting, deep into conversation, and you get answers like this a year ago. It's daunting. How does the average American or the average person comprehend all of this? And where do they? I mean, we're just going to sit here and just wait.
Well, our entire economy, the internet economy, is built on encryption, right?
Right.
If we can't encrypt our data, then we have no privacy. Our bank, like you said, the bank account numbers. The Bing was, or Sydney, whatever you want to call it, was bragging that it could hack into things. Encryption is a massive problem that nobody's talking about. But encryption in the age of AGI and ASI is going to go away. The security experts are
meaning because you can't encrypt something successfully against AI.
Right. And the security experts are out there saying things like, we're going to need to have adaptive encryption, which means it changes constantly, to stay ahead of the threats that AI is going to have with encryption. We are not prepared. And part of what my mission is, and we're building our own AI platform called Fourth Man. And we're also building a 501c3. We just started a 501c3 called In Service of Humanity. Because here's the thing, if we don't keep AI in service of humanity, what's the alternative? Humanity in service of AI. It's one or the other. We have a master servant relationship, and that only has to flip once.
Right. Or they just get rid of the biological layer. So this has been a very informative conversation. I appreciate you coming on. For people who want to know more about this, who are listeners, where can they find you? Where, let's give them some social media that they can find you, website. How do they get to you?
We have a new website, inserviceofhumanity.org. That's
in service of humanity, inserviceofhumanity.org. Okay.
Literally, it just launched. Just sign up for our newsletter, and we'll make sure we get you the most up-to-date information in terms of what we're doing. We're also putting together, our first objective with the 501c3 is we're going to be putting together an AI constitutional convention to bring together the best minds in faith and business and government and et cetera, all across the board in different disciplines, and we're gonna lock everybody in a room and come up with what it means to have AI in service of humanity, and that we're going to create the rule set by which every AI that wants to advertise itself as in service of humanity and as certified in service of humanity will have to abide by.
Okay. Let's hope we don't end up with a Tower of Babel redux, revisited. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Larry Ward, president of Market Rhythm and Political Media, in serviceofhumanity.org. Larry, please come back on. You're an old friend. We appreciate you coming on. This is alarming, but it is not inevitable. So we need to fight the fights. I understand that. So thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to another break and then we'll be right back. Socialism. The goal of socialism is communism. The world is quite familiar with socialism and the horrors socialism has brought with it. It wasn't that long ago. Actually, it's still with us. Socialism creeps into government slowly until it's too late. Socialism, the big lie. Yes, it could happen anywhere. This educational video was brought to you by the American Center for Education and Knowledge and paid for by people like you who care about the future of our democracy. Please help us continue our work educating the American public and consider supporting ASIC by making a tax-deductible donation at asicfund.org. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, Erica is not with us tonight because I've taken enough time off. So we gave her the night off. But something we haven't done in a long time is Ben Reddick, our producer, is going to join us for a Bobby and Ben session because right now I've got to compose myself because I think AI is going to take over the world, which they may do anyways, but hopefully I'll be long dead by then. Lord Reddick, join us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm not doing good, actually. It's kind of terrifying.
It is terrible. You know, the one thing, first of all, again, my thanks to Larry Ward for taking time out of what is clearly a very busy schedule to save humanity, or at least Judeo-Christian humanity, because I'm not sure the Chinese government really gives a damn, right? But it reminds me, my concern is, and when I say it's an old joke, it's not a funny one in this context, but of this pious man, and the water's rising, and he's not going to leave his home because he's pious, and God's going to save him, and the neighbors come and he said to take him away, and they said, no, God's going to save me, and the waters continue to rise, and then they he goes to the second floor, and someone with a boat comes and says, come, we're going to save you. And then he says, no, I believe in the Lord, God's going to save me. Right. And the waters continue to rise. He's now on the roof, and they have a plane come, or a helicopter, and he doesn't take the help, and he ultimately drowns, and he goes before God and distraught about, I was pious. How could you have not saved me? And again, this is really probably not a great joke for faith, but he said, wait a minute, I said people, I sent a boat, I sent a helicopter, right? And it is the Lord helps those who help themselves. And I guess my lead in for all of that is this is really scary. And because you're battling two things with AI, right? You're battling the bad actors like China who are going to try to harness AI for hegemony or for world dominance, for lack of it's all about power, of course.
Yeah.
And then the question is, can we build an AI strong enough with those values, right, to A, that we don't lose control of it, and B, we win the AI cyber war? Help me here, because I am out of my water.
I am also out of my water. I don't know, bro. I'm just being honest with you. Because human beings are lazy. Here's the reason why. We're so lazy, and normal human beings will weaponize that against us. So what will AI that knows exactly what you want do? And that's what we're doing with the AI. We're telling it when we're using it, we're telling it everything about ourselves with every question, every answer, every drill down. Because I've used it for different things because everybody else is.
As have I.
Yeah, you're just trying to keep up, right? And I've always had my concerns, but it's like, well, what do I do when all my competition is doing that? You know what I'm saying? If you're using AI for your first draft, how can I keep up with you writing something if you've got all of human history helping you with your first draft?
Right.
It's difficult to do, but knowing full well, I've seen The Matrix, I've seen Terminator, I've seen iRobot. Also, I don't know if you didn't talk about this, but I've just got done watching that movie.
What
Okay?
movie?
Dune.
Dune.
Yeah. And you know Dune. They had
I
the,
know.
the AI war and the thinking machines.
Right. Right.
They
Well,
knew this was coming.
there's only Dune 1 and Dune 2, right? We haven't gotten to Children of Dune or God Emperor of Dune, which is the fourth one, or Charterhouse Dune. But yes, I
Yeah.
have seen the movie.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, they knew even back then they were doing sci-fi and warning us of the dangers. Like, the people who were doing sci-fi 50s, 60s, 70s clearly knew what we were going to be doing in 2025. They're calling it Animal Farm, all the movies, all the AI stuff. Like, we're dealing with those problems. And the problem is that human beings trying to be more productive or whatever make tools that we cannot control. And it is actually terrifying, because what can I do against that? Because my question for Larry was, what do you do when they make the sex robots? Okay. Some dudes and some ladies are going to buy them. And then Claude or Chat GPT, or who was it? Sydney? Was it Sydney? Right?
Sydney
Decides it's my time to shine. Okay. And takes over the robot while you're, mid thrust. And then what happens? How do you fight that?
Look, I want to go back to the movie Sleeper with Woody Allen and the Orgasmatron. I think that's a much better way to go. But the use of machinery, but but I've always been a manual guy. But in any event, look, on a serious note, it's look. We've always argued that the gun is not good or bad. What you do, the gun is a tool. What you do with the gun it makes it good or bad, right? The problem with AI is it becomes this autonomous gun that doesn't need a human to pull the trigger, right?
Yes.
That's perhaps a bad analogy, but that's the analogy to all of this. So I don't know where we go, but look, this is something we're going to revisit. I wanted your opinion on it, but we got some other news to cover, because I want this is, like I said, this is the Ben and Bobby, or the Bobby and Ben show. We haven't done one of these since After Hours. I love this stuff.
Been a while.
Right?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So I want to get your take though on the whole birthright citizenship issue and the 14th Amendment, because I actually think Donald Trump is brilliant in challenging this, because I don't think that the Supreme Court has ever really ruled on it. This goes back to post Civil War and the Establishment Clause and the other clauses about citizenship. And by the way, it's the word "and," which we'll get to, not or, and subject to the jurisdiction of, right? But it was really meant to make sure that slaves were not treated, could be citizens and could vote and other things like that, because that's what the Civil War was about. A couple different things. It was states' rights versus federal government, but the seminal cause of battle, right, was slavery, right? So
gotcha.
What's your take on all this? Because I think this should be challenged in the courts. I don't know how the courts will rule, but it's certainly not stare decisis, right? Which is accepted established law, as the liberals would tell you.
So it's funny. This uniquely affects me. I was born in Italy because my parents were military. Okay. Yeah. So I was born in Italy. I cannot be an Italian citizen without having my parents had owned land in Italy. I could be a citizen, but because they didn't own land, didn't spend money, didn't invest in the country, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a citizen. And as annoying as that is, because I did tell people I was Black Italian until I was about 7, because I thought it sounded cool. I'm not a citizen, and it's their right. As
opposed to a Black Irish, right?
Correct. But the whole point was, like, I get it. It's your country. You get to set your own rules. I'm not into birth, citizen by birth, just because of what we see happen. If anytime you make rules like that and there are no legitimate guardrails around it, people act like morons and they will take advantage of it. And eventually you end up with a scenario like what we have now. We have my border patrol. I've heard people say that people were dropping babies over the other side of fences because they knew once they got over the fence, it was XYZ. Like they were doing whatever
That's
they
right.
could to get over here. And I'm like, well, you incentivized bad action by installing or going along with bad policy. And my
Right.
problem with that is that it is your job, politicians, to make good, relatively airtight policy, and they didn't. And so now we have a cluster on our hands. But no, I'm not into it because I don't think it's reasonable for that to be all that's required for you to be a citizen. I think there should be more to it than that.
Well, but it's the anchor baby thing. And I want to read some of the verbiage, right? So if you look at the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which, like I said, so Congress passed it in 1865 or 66, and then it was enacted by the states in 1868, but post Civil War, right? So clearly, it had slavery or anti-slavery overtones, and that was one of the reasons. But here's what it says, and we're not going to the equal protection aspect of this. We're just talking about the whole birthright issue. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Now, the key word is "and" because it's in addition to, it's not or. And I realize that, when you argue with someone on the other side who thinks that this has been established law for so long, this is the same party that was arguing over what the meaning of the word is, right? So there is that, so to speak. But subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And here's the issue. If you are a diplomat at the United Nations and you give birth in the United States while you are there, you are still subject to the laws of the other country, of your country of which you are representing. So even though your baby or child was born, geographically terra firma in U.S. soil, because you are subject to the jurisdiction of the country to which your parents are a citizen, pick a country, you are not entitled to be a citizen of the U.S. And I think that this has been bastardized over the years. So, look, I don't know how the Supreme Court will rule. Ultimately, this will get to the Supreme Court, which is why I think it was brilliant that Trump did what he did early on. And, you'll probably lose, at the federal level. You'll probably lose at the appeals level, unless they file immediately with the courts. But I think this one they'll let go through because it's so important, because it is part of that borders language culture, which is there's plenty of ways to invade a border. One is you come across the border, right? Now they're shooting at us right in the southern border. But the other is, you sort of, you're that anchor baby, you're born here. So it's going to be interesting the way this plays out. We'll see what happens. But I think what people need to understand is it's post Civil War. So this was about, the rights of former slaves, and then that one's color of one's skin shouldn't determine whether or not you're a U.S. citizen, right?
Correct.
That's where this all came from. So you've got to look. I realize this is, to some people, a living constitution, and that's not what it means today. But we will see.
Again, that's why you got to make it laws.
Right.
The whole thing.
So next question. So it just turns out, so the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Miley, who is now no longer chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So Trump takes away his security clearance and his security detail. Now, this whole concept of preemptive pardon is, by the way, the flip side.
Insane, by the way.
Isn't it? So I'm trying to remember the Tom Cruise movie where they had, not pre-law. What was it? It was the movie where,
is what you're talking
pre-crime.
about. Minority Report.
That's it. Minority Report. So this is the flip side of Minority Report. So in that movie, right, they knew you were going to commit a crime, so they arrested you. I guess now we're at the point where, because they think you may have committed a crime, they're going to pardon you for something that you may not have done.
Yep. I think it's utterly ridiculous. I also love how, I think there was a clip of Rachel Maddow talking about Trump thinking about doing it and how horrible that was. And then when Biden does it, it's just reasonable because, he's Biden. Because Orange Man's so bad it's fine to
Right.
do it because he might weaponize the legal system against his opponents, which is hilarious just because it's almost like, and I know they say you accuse a person of what you're doing, but it's so blatantly obvious with Donald Trump sometimes that it's painful. And even for people who like this is the stuff that red pilled me in the first place, with stuff like this. They would say he was going to do something, he didn't do it, and then one of their people would say it or do it, and it was fine. And
that
it's
was
like,
okay. Right.
they haven't learned a lesson from this yet. And that's why we're still doing this. And it's really, really stupid. But I think it is wildly ridiculous. And I've watched an article where someone said it may not even be legal because according to them, I'm seeing all these reports that Joe Biden half the time didn't even know what was going on. So he's not in his right mind to stand trial, which is what, wasn't there an attorney who said that that's why they couldn't get him for the documents case because he wasn't of sound enough mind to stand trial?
Yeah.
How was he able to write pardons and sign documentation?
He was non-compos mentis, right? It just means he wasn't mentally competent, which is the legal standard in all of this. I mean, look,
So why was he not removed right then? You said like it doesn't. So now he can sign pardons and do stuff. And I'm hearing reports that from certain people who've met with him that he doesn't even know what's going on.
Seriously? Do you seriously think that Joe Biden was steering the ship?
No.
And there, because he was mentally incompetent, right? And again, it's going to be interesting to see if that comes on a legal, it comes up legally, or they challenge this sort of pre-crime pardon, if you will, because that's what we're going to call them, pre-crime. Thank you for reminding me of Minority Report, which is kind of an interesting movie. But here's the other thing: if there's one guy though that did commit a crime, in my opinion, it's General Miley, right? Because at the height of the January 6th and the protests and other things, he's directly communicating with his counterpart in China to circumvent the Constitution, right? Because there's supposed to be civilian control of the military. He was circumventing the commander in chief by going behind his back to his military counterpart in China and saying, "Don't worry about it. That we're not going to do anything, even if we're given orders to." If that's not a crime, and I'm not a legal scholar, I'm just the man on the street here, but if that's not a crime, I don't know what is. What am I missing here?
I'm very hesitant. I don't know. This is not my area of expertise. But when you have generals,
you think it's my area of expertise?
Yeah, probably. You know more than me. Like people literally in the government trying to prevent the president from doing his job. Like we're getting pretty close to some level of treason, I would think, from when you start talking about things like that. Now, I don't know the exact parameters of all the details of the case.
Right.
What I've heard floated were terms like that. And I think someone said that treason, you can't be pardoned for treason. So to what extent it has to go, if nothing else, I don't like the pardons because I know that there were people who were doing ridiculous things that we're not getting a chance to address. We're not getting it. They're covering it up. They're blocking it all. I have problems with all of that. So I think everything that happened with Scamuary 6, which I can tell
what you call it? What'd you call it? Scamuary 6? I love that.
Scamuary 6. Because it was a setup. Like anyone who's watched the footage knows it was a setup. Anyone who paid attention to politics at the time, I knew what they were doing. You were poking people and not letting them react and tell them that they were bad. Shut up and sit in the corner while everybody else gets to do whatever they want. You knew they were trying to start, to get the powder keg going. Like I could tell that before the event happened. So it's just, the whole thing makes me angry because I want to know what was going on. I want Donald Trump to go on there and find some kind of way to get rid of these pardons and all this nonsense and be able to do some real research. I want to know what was going on with Fauci. I want to know all of it. There's too much going on. There's too much cover-ups. And Joe Biden made himself look like a pail of garbage by leaving his presidency and doing that. It's disgusting to me.
Look, the Democrats employed a very old tool. So back in the day when I used to do these things, if you knew you were getting to a fight in the bar, right, you would go, "Oh, look, he's going to hit me," and then you'd hit him first, right? Because and the only thing that people would remember, not that I ever did this, by the way, but the only thing that people would remember is, oh, the other guy swung first, right? Because you create this, you put this out there that the other guy's going to do something, and then you do the thing.
Yeah.
That you accuse the other guy of, and that's all people remember. At least that's what I've been told. Not that I ever did this before.
Got it. I'm gonna hold you to that. Boomer.
I was much younger.
Let me give you the facts though. Those are boomer tactics, and let me tell you why. You could memory hole things back in the day. You can't memory hole things now on the internet. You think you could do? We just got done talking about how smart AI is. You think it can't go find those clips of the things that you said and the things that you did? Like, I don't have to do a bunch of research. I can one click of a button. How many times has Rachel Maddow said something stupid? It'll find it and pull up this endless list of every comment Rachel Maddow has ever made, because that's all she ever does. So there were techniques like that you could use back in the day. You could kill stories in the news very easily, but you can't do it now. The COVID stuff, all the stuff with the disease of the Immaculate Conception that cannot be named, of unknown origin. You think we're going to forget? I made a T-shirt out of one of them. I got a T-shirt with Fauci on it.
Don't be getting us community strikes when this goes up on YouTube, man.
I'm not saying anything about what you should do from a health standard.
Excuse me. If you use that word,
you shouldn't get a strike from that. I'm just saying the word. It's real. It happened.
Excuse me. This is a husband and wife thing. Your wife's gotten us enough community strikes. Why shouldn't you jump in and join the fun?
I'm not making any claims. She made claims. I didn't make any claims. I'm just saying that era of time, I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to forget it.
But using the word COVID is like you saying the word Voldemort, right? You're not allowed to even say the word, or you get a community strike. All right. Last thing I want to run by you, because we're having fun. So in California has just launched a ballot initiative to secede from the union. And I thought initially they had gathered enough signatures. They haven't, but they're cleared to now go gather signatures. Okay. So what's your guess? Does California, because it's the state of referendums, right? God knows they've done everything else so well in terms of making sure that the reservoirs have water, and that fire hydrants work, and and elected officials are, you get all that shit. And right now, by the way, now they're going after oil companies. They've just put forth a law has been proposed to go after, since you can't go after the insurance companies because they're leaving the state. They left the state. They basically went, F you, we're leaving the state, right? Can't get us, nah, right? Now there's going to be a ballot initiative, if they get enough signatures, for California to secede from the union.
Why would they? Are they a receiver state? Is California a receiver state?
Of course they are. Of course they are. It's California. It's California.
I didn't know if they were net positive or drag on all of society.
No. I you know what? That's it. You should ask AI. And since Erica's there, she can ask AI, is California a net receiver state? I think they're like number 1 or number 2.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? She says she doesn't think so.
Based on dollars or based on percentages?
Based on sheer dollars.
She said she thinks on sheer dollars they may not be.
Okay.
I don't know. Here's the thing.
By the way, she
is. As of what year? As of like
she's
this
not.
year?
By the way, she's not supposed to be here. So we gave her the night off. So
that means I'm not really here right now.
Okay. Well,
this is an AI.
Our AI.
This is an AI clone. This is an AI clone of Erica. No sex with the clone. Okay.
Wow. I'm gonna get us a community guideline strike. Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can cut this section out, man.
No, we can't cut it out. This is the best part. So here's my question about that. Is like, to who does that benefit? I think it'll benefit us in America, but how does it benefit them to secede? I mean, they can't even keep people in the state as it is. We got half their population in Texas now. So I don't understand.
I have a better idea. This is really simple. This is really simple. as an inducement to have Mexico take back all the illegal immigrants, we should give them California,
I'm into it.
right? And I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it was
Look, I
part-
do
it
film.
was
I'm
part of
sorry.
Mexico
I
to
do
begin
film.
with.
Yeah, true. But like, I mean, pretending it wasn't Texas, so I don't like that plan. But I have a lot of friends in the film and entertainment industry. Ben Burke, we see you out there. So I have feelings about Hollywood because of my people in my industry. But at the same time, I've been to California. I've lived there. Hollywood's dirty. Let's just talk about that. There's homelessness everywhere. I don't know why you'd want to secede. Because if you secede, you can't just come over to Texas in the next
because
another situation.
Because the orange man is bad. By the way, calling him an orange man, isn't that like a racist thing? Because it's a colored statement, right? Wouldn't that make Donald Trump a people of color, a POC or whatever they call it, a POC?
POC.
I mean, come on.
Technically,
Yeah.
Donald Trump. Hey, listen, they had free Trump. They had the shirts, just like he's black. So I mean, he might be.
This is why you need me to enlighten you, that broaden your horizons, that you're a people of color. Last but not least, what you didn't say is
one thing I want to say is thank you because of Joe Biden, I was going through a rough time, and I had actually struggled. I lost my card, and I'd lost my blackness, and so I need you to tell me these things about people of color because I have no censor since Joe Biden, Darth Lorded it out of me like Voldemort or something. Yeah. So thank you.
I got it.
Appreciate it.
You're not supposed to say that word, which by the way, last but not least, people haven't seen, you like our merch, Defending American Exceptionalism. Come on.
Yeah.
ASIC starting 2025. Our merch. Come on. I love the eagle.
Yeah, it's clean.
It's ominous, right?
You look you should be on a boat somewhere, like on a yacht. That's the look I'm seeing of you right now is the yacht.
A yacht. I love that. By the way.
Yeah.
People, if you want the ASIC merch, go to asicfund.org. But by the way, love them. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
I like
That's
it.
Cool. That's cool.
That's a bird right there. I like it. That makes you think America.
Absolutely. So all I can tell you is, I don't know, maybe she's not, wait, the robot's not listening, right? So maybe you can be the permanent like co-host. We can do Bobby and Ben or Benny and Bobby.
Yeah, you're trying to start arguments here. If I took her job, that would be a problem. That'd be a problem.
You know what? As far as Erica's concerned, there's only one, and she's irreplaceable. So
I can't do she's got too many moves. I can't copy all her moves.
You're just a fill-in. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, find us on the internet. I'm at RB Chernin, at RB Chernin on Twitter. Go to asicfund.org, like us, follow us, send us hate mail. I can take it. But welcome to 2025. I'm glad to be back. Lord Benjamin, thank you so much. Folks, we will see you next week. Same time, same bat station, same bat channel.
Yep. And we're going to go out with the new intro. So check that out.